Lil Baby's retirement wasn't just a rumor. It might be the start of something way darker. Courtroom leaks, jail calls, and RICO whispers turn this from music news into a survival story. Imagine being one of the biggest rap stars in the world, but one wrong call, one wrong friend, and one rumor could end your entire career. That's exactly what Lil Baby is facing right now. Everyone thinks Lil Baby is retiring. But the real reason will shock you: jail calls, hidden cases, and a shooting that left 2 people dead. The question is he really stepping away, or does he simply have no choice left? News broke recently that Lil Baby might be stepping away from music, and it immediately sent shockwaves through the rap world. The first spark came from Wolfpack Music, a label connected to him, which posted on Instagram suggesting Baby was retiring. At first, it looked like just another industry rumor, but as the story unfolded, things got a lot deeper and a lot messier. The drama circles back to Young Thug. A leaked jail call surfaced online where Thug not only called Quality Control's Pierre P. Thomas a rat, but also criticized Lil Baby for being too close to him. In the audio, Thug sounded frustrated, saying things like, "You can't preach one thing and then rock with a rat. Don't matter if they gave you millions, they're still a rat." Not long after that leak, tensions between Baby and Thug became visible at a public music event. Reports suggested Thug believed he might be the reason Lil Baby was considering retirement. He even posted on Instagram, writing messages like, "Pick up the phone, talk to me. We're for lifers. Don't let rats divide us. The world doesn't know everything you've done, but I do." But behind the scenes, the problem was bigger than rap politics. Lil Baby wasn't just dealing with whispers of disloyalty or industry drama. He was facing something much heavier: the possibility of legal trouble. Ever since the YSL RICO case exploded in Atlanta, the city's hip-hop scene had been under a microscope. Young Thug's arrest shook the culture, and prosecutors made it clear they weren't finished. Rappers who once thought their fame and success made them untouchable were suddenly realizing the law could reach them too. That's where Lil Baby's name started to quietly surface. In court, footage began circulating of prosecutors discussing wiretapped phone calls connected to YSL's investigation. Buried in those transcripts were mentions of Baby's crew. For picofarads, investigators hinted that Baby might have had tickets on people's heads, a chilling phrase in street slang suggesting money put on someone's life. While nothing was confirmed, the fact that his name even came up in the same breath as a RICO case was enough to spark rumors and paranoia. For Baby, this wasn't just background noise. He had built a career on consistency, discipline, and avoiding the pitfalls that dragged down so many of his peers. Unlike other rappers who flaunted their gang ties, Baby had always tried to balance authenticity with smart business moves. He rapped about the streets, yes, but he also pushed an image of someone who wanted to leave that world behind. Still, as history has shown, it only takes one wiretap, one bad associate, or one careless word to drag an artist into the mud. This is what made the whispers dangerous. Atlanta's prosecutors had already proven they weren't afraid to use rap lyrics, music videos, or online posts as evidence in criminal cases. If they could build an entire RICO case against Young Thug and YSL, what was stopping them from targeting 4 picofarads next? Fans began connecting dots that might not have even been there. Baby's lyrics were dissected. His social media posts were reanalyzed. Anytime someone in his orbit got arrested or caught in drama, the internet tied it back to him. The more people speculated, the more it seemed like Baby was walking on a tightrope, balancing his superstar status against a legal system eager to make an example out of high-profile rappers. At the same time, Lil Baby's personal brand was thriving. His music was topping charts. He was collaborating with the biggest names in the industry, and companies lined up for endorsements. To the outside world, he was untouchable. But privately, those closest to him say the pressure was mounting. The success was real, but so was the fear of being the next headline, another Atlanta rapper indicted. The paranoia wasn't unfounded. The culture of hip-hop in Atlanta had become tightly linked to the streets that birthed it. Labels, cliques, and crews often blurred the lines between music and criminal allegations. What started as loyalty could quickly look like conspiracy under the lens of the law. Prosecutors didn't care if the conversations were just bravado or rap talk. In a courtroom, even slang could become evidence. Lil Baby understood this better than most. That's why, in interviews, he often stressed the importance of separating his rap career from street drama. He didn't want to be painted with the same brush that was staining YSL's legacy. But once your name gets spoken in the same courtrooms as wiretaps and hit money, the narrative starts to shift, whether it's true or not. Social media only added fuel to the fire. Clips of courtroom discussions spread across Twitter and Instagram, often stripped of context. Fans debated whether the claims were real or just another example of prosecutors stretching thin connections to build a bigger case. Some argued Baby was too smart to get caught up. Others insisted that no rapper at his level could stay fully clean when so many of his associates still lived by street rules. This left Baby in a complicated position. On one hand, distancing himself too publicly from those rumors could make him look defensive or even disloyal to people in his circle. On the other hand, staying quiet risked letting the speculation grow louder. It was a lose-lose situation where perception mattered just as much as truth. What made this even more dangerous was timing. The YSL case had become a national spectacle. Every leak, every court update, every new piece of audio was dissected not just by fans, but by media outlets hungry for clicks. In that environment, simply being mentioned, even indirectly, could plant seeds of suspicion that were hard to erase. For Baby, the strategy seemed to be focusing on the music and avoiding unnecessary controversy. But even then, the tension showed. His lyrics carried hints of paranoia. Interviews felt more cautious. And in the background, 4PF's reputation continued to hover between being a rap crew and a potential target for investigators. The truth is, nobody outside those courtrooms knows how deep the connection really went. Maybe Baby's name was only mentioned in passing. Maybe the prosecutors were stretching. Or maybe the rumors had more weight than fans wanted to admit. Whatever the case, the impact was undeniable. Lil Baby, one of the most successful rappers of his generation, was suddenly part of the larger conversation about Atlanta's rap scene being swallowed by RICO cases. And that's the tragic irony. Rappers like Baby worked for years to escape the streets, to turn their stories into music that could change their lives. The higher they climb, the more the streets and the system watching those streets seem determined to pull them back down. Prosecutors even tried to connect him to ordering hits, the same kind of charge rapper Lil Durk has been fighting. Journalists in Atlanta, including respected reporter George Chitty, claimed that specialized units within Georgia's public defender's office were actively preparing a racketeering case against both 4Pico Farids and OMEF, another Atlanta crew. As this news circulated, Young Thug took aim at an investigator named Marissa Vivero, calling her the biggest liar in the DA's office. He went so far as to post her picture online, sparking backlash since he's already facing his own restrictions. Prosecutors argued he was sending a signal against her, which only added more pressure on everyone involved. Lil Baby, meanwhile, made a drastic move to distance himself from the storm. He shut down his label 4Pico Farids entirely, explaining that he couldn't risk being tied to the mistakes of others. In an interview, he admitted, "I didn't realize other people's actions could get me caught up too. Once I learned that, I knew I had to switch everything up. I'd be a fool not to." But instead of clearing his name, the move only made Lil Baby look more suspicious. Rather than silencing critics, it gave law enforcement more reason to keep their eyes on him. Soon, his name was tied to a tragic incident from the previous summer, one that left 2 young people dead on the streets of Atlanta. According to police, the violence wasn't random. They believed it was connected to the filming of a Lil Baby music video in a neighborhood claimed by a rival gang. On the surface, it seemed like bad timing and bad location. But prosecutors argued that Baby's presence, along with the large entourage that came with him, created a volatile environment. Even though Baby himself wasn't accused of pulling a trigger, authorities painted him as a catalyst. The strange part? Police admitted the rival crew, the ops, had no idea Baby was even in the area until someone posted about the video shoot on social media. That single post changed everything. Word spread fast, egos flared, and within hours, the situation spiraled out of control. By the end of the day, 2 young lives had been cut short. For grieving families, the explanation didn't matter. The community wanted answers, and Baby's name kept surfacing in the conversation. This is the double-edged sword of being a rap superstar in Atlanta. On one hand, Baby's fame made him one of the city's most celebrated success stories. On the other, his celebrity acted like a spotlight, turning every move into a spectacle. For police, that spotlight made it easy to connect dots, sometimes fairly, sometimes unfairly. In their eyes, if Lil Baby's presence sparked danger, then Lil Baby had to answer for it. For Baby, the accusation stung. His entire brand was built on leaving the streets behind, on showing the next generation that they could find another way out. To suddenly be tied to violence he didn't directly cause felt like being dragged backward into a past He had worked so hard to escape. Still, perception often matters more than truth. Headlines didn't read, "Lil Baby present during unrelated violence." They read, "Shooting at Lil Baby video shoot leaves 2 dead." And that difference shaped how the public saw him. The tragedy also revealed how fragile the line between art and reality has become in hip-hop. Rappers film in gritty neighborhoods to prove their authenticity, to connect with fans who want to see them as real. But those same settings can blur into real-life gang territory, where authenticity is tested not through lyrics, but through violence. For Lil Baby, what might have been just another video shoot turned into a crime scene with lasting consequences. As investigators dug deeper, they looked at who Baby was with, who organized the shoot, and whether the event was intentionally staged in enemy territory. Rumors swirled online that 4 picofarads had planned it as a show of strength. Others argued it was a coincidence, just a case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. The truth, like most things in the rap world, lay somewhere in the gray area. What couldn't be denied was the growing pressure. Fans noticed that Baby's social media presence became more careful. Interviews sounded more cautious. In the music, flashes of paranoia and weariness slipped into his verses. He was still a chart-topping artist, still packing arenas, but there was a shadow hanging over him, one that fame alone couldn't erase. Meanwhile, the police used the incident as proof of a larger narrative. To them, Atlanta's rap crews weren't just music collectives, they were organized gangs operating under the cover of the industry. The YSL case had already shown that prosecutors were willing to blur those lines in court. If it worked once, why wouldn't it work again? And Lil Baby's name, however loosely tied, gave them another thread to pull. Inside the culture, reactions were split. Some fans defended Baby, saying he couldn't be blamed for something out of control. Others accused him of being reckless, of putting clout and image above safety. The fact that innocent bystanders died made the criticism harsher. No matter how you looked at it, the fallout stained what should have been another milestone in his career. At the heart of it all was the cruel reality of rap stardom in Atlanta. Success doesn't guarantee freedom from the streets. Even when rappers try to elevate themselves, the places they came from, and the people still in them, pull them back into danger. Lil Baby didn't set out to cause violence, but his presence carried weight, and that weight could crush anyone unlucky enough to be caught in its orbit. Over time, the incident faded from headlines, replaced by the next scandal, the next case, the next leak. But for Baby, the memory lingered. It wasn't just about police suspicion, it was about trust. Trust in the system, trust in his circle, even trust in the fans who debated his innocence as if it were a sport. He realized how quickly love could turn into doubt, how fast admiration could shift into accusation. And that's the tightrope every rapper walks today. Fame opens doors, but it also paints a target on your back. One wrong move, one wrong place, one wrong rumor, and suddenly your career is on the line, your freedom is in question, and your name is linked to tragedies you never asked to be part of. For Lil Baby, the summer shooting was more than just a tragic headline. It was a warning shot, a reminder that no matter how far you climb, the past is never too far behind. In reality, all Baby had done was shoot a video in the wrong place at the wrong time. Yet investigators painted it as if his decision set off a chain reaction that cost lives. That narrative, combined with fans already criticizing his latest album, It's Only Me and the Wham Project, created the perfect storm. With legal threats looming, fans questioning his moves, and strained relationships with industry peers, Lil Baby's decision to step back from rap looks less like retirement and more like survival. If Lil Baby ever faces a RICO case, his career might be finished. His music has already been slipping in the public eye, and critics, including DJ Academics, haven't held back. Academics even joked that it felt like some monster shook the talent out of him, questioning the quality of Baby's recent previews. For an artist once considered the future of Atlanta rap, it was a harsh reality check. But music struggles are just the surface. The real storm around Baby ties into ongoing investigations in Atlanta, where prosecutors seem determined to follow up the YSL case with new targets. And somehow, his name keeps coming up. Ghana's shadow. Some fans believe Ghana's release may have triggered extra heat on Lil Baby. Ghana, once Baby's frequent collaborator, has been accused of cooperating with prosecutors during the YSL trial, a move that alienated both Young Thug and Baby. Soon after Ghana walked free, Baby was arrested for carrying a concealed firearm without a permit. The arrest felt suspicious to fans, who pointed to the timing and claimed Ghana's actions might have made Baby a target. Baby himself seemed frustrated, caught on video saying, I spend 200 bands a year on security and still end up locked up. I'm a celebrity, but y'all treat me different. And it wasn't just that one arrest. Baby began facing petty charges, like getting pulled over for tinted windows. In bodycam footage, he explained, "I can't have people seeing me, I'm a celebrity." But officers weren't having it. Minutes after being ticketed, another cop stopped him again, fueling suspicion that his name had been flagged in the system. Academics take on the bigger picture. According to academics, this is all part of a slow build. Atlanta's DA, Fani Willis, has made her stance on gang-related indictments crystal clear. After going after YSL and YFN, many insiders believe 4 picofarads is next. AK even showed files listing groups the DA's office has been targeting, and 4 picofarads was right there. The strategy, he explained, is to stack small charges over time so that when a RICO case finally hits, prosecutors can point to a long history of criminal behavior. In short, every ticket, every arrest, every stop is part of a larger story prosecutors want to tell about Baby and his team. Only a matter of time before 4 picofarads faces the same fate. In a leaked recording, one woman claimed that everyone was turning against each other because Young Thug's brother could no longer return to Atlanta. She accused people of acting like they were close to him online just for attention, even though they knew the truth. Her frustration was clear. According to her, the alliances forming in Atlanta weren't about loyalty, but about taking advantage of his absence. Not long after, another audio surfaced of Young Thug speaking with 21 Savage. Thug admitted he wished rappers hadn't been so quick to call out Ghana. He explained he would never publicly bash 21 online, even if they had issues, because that wasn't how real loyalty worked. Thug wasn't saying others were wrong for calling Ghana out, but he did feel they should have spoken to him privately first. He pointed out that not everyone was trying to chase clout from the situation, though some clearly were. The big issue is how these recordings are being used. Critics like Charleston White see them as proof that Thug's career is collapsing. Charleston even bragged that he had predicted Thug would eventually crack under prison conditions. He claimed that if Thug stays locked up for another 6 months, he'll end up cooperating just to get out. Charleston's mission is personal. He openly said he wants to destroy Young Thug and make sure he can never rap again. At the same time, DJ Academics highlighted the double standard in hip-hop when it comes to snitching. He explained that whether someone is labeled a snitch often depends on how much people like them. If fans support the rapper, they'll excuse it, saying things like, "Nobody got locked up from what he said," or "He just tricked the cops." But if they don't like the artist, they'll immediately call it snitching. Academics pointed out that for most regular people, it doesn't even matter. Civilians don't live by street codes, they just enjoy the music. Meanwhile, Young Thug released the track Miss My Dogs, with a video showing him getting into an Escalade shortly after leaving court. The scene even included his lawyer, Brian Steele, and Thug still wearing the same clothes from the courtroom, adding an almost symbolic layer to the visuals. However, his legal troubles are far from over. Even though his sentence was reduced to time served with probation, the state of Georgia quickly filed a motion to revoke that probation. The controversy grew louder when Benzino accused the system of leaking Thug's private jail calls without watermarks, suggesting it was a deliberate move to sway public opinion against him. He argued that it was unconstitutional for the government to release private conversations, especially if it was done to bait Thug into breaking probation. Academics summed it up best: these rappers are millionaires, yet they keep clinging to street codes that no longer make sense. They made it out of the street, but still try to prove they're the realest in the game. The irony, he said, is that once the law gets involved, those same rappers start thinking about their families and futures, suddenly realizing the street image isn't worth it. In his words, it's the first time we're seeing gangsters who need therapy.